Good morning, everybody, and welcome back to the weather forecaster by Asia's Weather Forecast. I do know it's very early, but we have extremely big updates we need to talk about for those people who are early birds. And I have major morning updates, and I'm planning on having up to 2 to 3 videos because this is how bad the severe weather is. I'm not going to be having any updates today on major windstorm Sadie, Sally, guys, because this severe weather is going to be the worst since we've seen possibly close to 2011. So this is way worse than the snow. So I do apologize. I did have some snow updates yesterday. If you want to check that out, still not incredibly different than what we're seeing right now. But again, severe weather. We had tornado watches already, and we just saw some tornado warnings a couple minutes ago out here near Tyler, Texas. So again, these major severe weather bands will start moving down to Mississippi and Arkansas very soon, and we already have these flooding issues already in Georgia, Alabama, Tennessee, and North Carolina. As we're starting to see these first bands right now. Again, it's really going to be a major update, especially on the Storm Prediction Center day one. We have a major update on the moderate risk, and a potential high risk will be updated later today. Atlanta has now been added to the moderate risk and is continuing to move east, and I'm right on the border of the moderate and enhanced risk, or close to the moderate. So definitely major updates. Millions will be added in severe thunderstorm warnings and watches. I will have another early afternoon video around noon at Eastern time, and then maybe later after 4:30. And I'll be staying up all night trying to get coverage for this. So you guys, I can't live stream. You do know I would live stream in this to show the coverage and all that, but I can't because I still have to wait for the guidelines to accept me live streaming again because I wasn't able to live stream since August because of a false report. So again, I still can't live stream. You know I would. Again, we still have David Schlotthauer. He will stream, I hope. And again, we have major updates. Be sure to subscribe. Thank you guys so much for 2,100 subscribers. It means a lot. And let's get into this video. So here we are looking at the National Weather Service. I do actually apologize for the long intro there. But again, here we have the area focus right now where we have the worst of the bands. Again, this is where we have these bands from yesterday in Texas and Louisiana that we talked about earlier. Where we had the enhanced risk. This is not what we're seeing right now in Georgia. This is in Tennessee. We're seeing this very light rain starting to come, and then we'll see this major band go over the Mississippi River and Mississippi Valley, and that's going to cause the major threat out here later this afternoon and evening into the very early hours of Monday morning, especially out here in these areas. That's where we actually have this enhanced risk now pushing all the way up into Virginia, and it's moderate moving into Georgia. So again, here we have these tornado watches in the yellow counties. That's for areas near Shreveport and out there into not far from Alexandria and Monroe as well, and El Dorado, Arkansas. Look at this major band right here. Incredibly heavy rain. Again, just passing by Tyler. Like I said, these bands really did pass Tyler really hard. I believe we saw hail reports. Actually, we'll be checking out that later in the video. But look at this very strong squall line that's moving in out here towards Shreveport. Again, we have these very heavy bands ahead of time, and we haven't even seen the worst of it. We're again seeing this very strong band now out here into southwestern Arkansas. That's going to be now pushing into El Dorado as well from the Shreveport and Monroe band. Again, this major band will eventually now pass by into Alexandria later in the next couple of hours here. Again, major squall line. You can possibly see a wall cloud formation develop. We definitely have a ton of cells in this system. Most likely discrete cells, not necessarily, I don't think we necessarily have any supercells in here right now. And then again, here we have this really heavy rain now moving all the way up into Hot Springs, Arkansas. But again, here we again have this. We have a flash flood warning now for Tyler. We did actually have the tornado warning in Tyler, I believe, there. And then again, that's why we actually had now these tornado watches pushing all the way up into Arkansas and Louisiana. Again, I don't think we did not have a tornado report as of right now. And then Lufkin, Texas, Texarkana, Texarkana. We have again that really heavy rain pushing into there. We only have a wind advisory. We should have severe thunderstorm watch be issued there again. But here we have these severe thunderstorm warnings for these far eastern Texas counties. And again, I would not doubt if we have a tornado warning out there near the out here just east of Lufkin. Lufkin. I don't would not doubt if we have a tornado warning northeast of you where we have this severe thunderstorm warning. So again, a potential for major tornadoes developing. Again, this is just the start of it. This is going to start again moving eastward at a very fast rate. And again, here we have these flash flood watches, or in advance, we will have flash flood warnings. But again, that's going to be for Chattanooga, out there to northern Georgia as well. We do have Rome, Dalton, Rome, and Atlanta, again, have been added into the moderate risk. And I'm right here, not far from Gainesville. So I'm not that far at all from being added to the moderate risk. So it was right here yesterday, and it's here today. So definitely a potential to come here by the end of today. Again, we have flash flood watches for the Blairsville area and the Blue Ridge Mountains, also near Tupelo. We also have a huge risk there. Again, Tupelo, Oxford, Lawrenceburg, and Florence. We also have flash flood warnings. And then Chattanooga, you guys are also in the threat for the very heavy rain. Cooksville, Nashville. And look at this, just incredibly heavy band right here. This is just historic, this band right here. Would not doubt if we have any supercells develop very soon. Again, this very heavy rain is going to be now moving out there into El Dorado, moving slower, closer and closer to Little Rock. Little Rock, you possibly see these very dark clouds right now. Again, like I said, I'm seeing this lighter first rain showers that we saw out there into Texas yesterday. That's also going to be impacting areas into eastern Texas. And then here you have the first bands of early this morning now moving into northern Arkansas, northern Mississippi there. That's actually where we actually have. Let's actually check out the cities there that are in the threat. Again, we have Oxford now moving in the threat, and again Tupelo seeing that big threat for that incredibly heavy rain in these areas, of course. So again, that's going to be now moving into the Oxford area, just north of Oxford, and again the Mississippi River is definitely going to be seeing quite a bit, and then it will be this is the worst of it right now. And then again, we'll have some other bands developing Kansas and Oklahoma, and these will all meet into the Tennessee Valley, and then it obviously affect the southeast later tonight. So now we're going to be looking at the major new update here in the SPC outlook here. Again, here we have that moderate risk moving all the way up into Atlanta. I'm like right here, so I'm actually not too far I'm actually like right here, so I'm actually not too far from getting added, like right there. So again, let's get into what we have right here. So again, we have the major update on the moderate risk. We have yet to have a high risk. I really think they should add it later today, because it looks very likely to be necessary, most likely into central Alabama and Mississippi, and also in southeastern Arkansas. And again, I think this moderate risk should be all the way up over here into the southern Tennessee area near Chattanooga, all the way up into the Blue Ridge Mountains in Georgia, right next to the border with South Carolina. So again, the marginal risk, we have 28 million people. Now it's extended all the way up into the Midwest and continuing to move into the Mid-Atlantic, like the 2011 outbreak continues to see marginal going all the way up into the Mid-Atlantic. But again, not going to be seeing the worst of it up there like we saw with 2011, and then we have 28 million people in the marginal risk, including all the way from Fort Worth to Kansas City to West Virginia. So again, we have Fort Worth, Oklahoma City, Kansas City, Arlington, Irving, and then we also have Jacksonville. We also have Gainesville, Florida. We also have Savannah, Georgia, Raleigh, Richmond, almost all of West Virginia there, all the way up into Columbus, all the way up into central Ohio, also including not far from Iowa City and the Jefferson City area. The slight chances of including more people as we continue to have more updates now. The slight chances all the way up now into Ohio and including Kansas. All, like I said earlier, now moving all the way up to Virginia. So again, definitely seeing the slight chance. This severe weather risk is becoming a lot more likely as we go on. Every single update is more and more likely. The slight chance is now for 33 million people, including Dallas, Texas, Columbus, Ohio, Charlotte, New Orleans, and Tulsa. We also now have the enhanced risk. This is where we have a very, very big threat for severe weather, and for those people who are east of the moderate risk, there's a very good chance y'all can be added to the moderate. The enhanced risk now includes up to 16 and close to 16.5 million people, which is a lot of people. We have now Memphis, Tennessee, Nashville, Shreveport, Mobile, and Little Rock. It was very necessary to add the enhanced risk all the way up to the Kentucky border. That was necessary. I'm glad they actually extended that. And now we have this enhanced risk now go all the way to the Gulfport area and up to the Hattiesburg, to the Mobile area. And now we have this enhanced risk now has been added for Texas and Oklahoma. That was also necessary. So not only are we seeing the severe weather threat moving east, but also west. Then now the moderate risk, possibly the biggest update. Yesterday we had 5 million people in it. Now we have getting close to 9,200,000 people, including Atlanta, Georgia, Birmingham, Montgomery, Columbus, Georgia, and Jackson, Mississippi. This is like screaming 2011 outbreak to me. Tornado threat has also gone up quite a bit. We have areas that were under a 5% chance yesterday, now up to a 10% chance. 10% chance is now moving east, north, south, and west in all different directions. We have a 5% chance for 22 million people, including Memphis, Charlotte, New Orleans, Raleigh, and Greensboro. So there's a pretty small chance that you got to be seeing tornadoes, but there's not like a chance for a 0% chance. There's again a 5% chance. In other words, that's like saying a 10% chance in really common sense, because I know it says 5% chance, but that's tornado risk. It's always going to be very, very low. So, again, that 5% chance is going to, there's a chance for tornadoes, just not super high. 10% chances, that's where we start to see this threat for tornadoes becoming a lot higher now and a lot more of a threat, as you can say, because most of these will be overnight tornadoes, especially in Georgia and Tennessee and South Carolina. That's for 9 million people now, including Nashville, Mobile, Sandy Springs, Macon, and Murfreesboro, Tennessee. I'm actually in the 10% chance, but I'm not too far from the 15% chance as well. And the last time I was in 15% chance was actually before 2011. I was in a 10% chance during the 2011 outbreak, which we saw earlier yesterday. The 15% chance, this is where we have these numbers climbing up to 9,200,000 people, including Atlanta, Georgia, Birmingham, Montgomery, Columbus, Jackson, and it looks like Alexandria. You guys were now knocked out of the highest risk for tornadoes. Wind threat is continuing to be incredibly high, to a 45 to a 60% chance. Again, I'm actually now in a 30% chance, like earlier yesterday. I would not doubt if this 45% chance does move into the far northwestern tip of Georgia, also not far from Chattanooga. But the 30% chance now is for 21.5 million people, including Memphis, Nashville, Atlanta, Birmingham, and Montgomery. And the 45% chance, that's when we'll be seeing the best threat for damaging winds, not only from thunderstorms, but from the non-thunderstorm winds that we've been talking about for a week now. That's going to be causing a ton of threats for power outages, and also seeing the threat out here for damaging winds, causing a big threat for tornadoes, and of course, damage. We have that for 4 million people, including Huntsville, Decatur, Pine Bluff, Arkansas, South Haven, Mississippi, and Greenville, Mississippi. Memphis was actually right in the 45% chance, but now is just like 2 miles away from that. So Memphis, you guys technically aren't very close to the 45% chance, and you guys should continue to be in that 45% chance. Hail threat is maintaining a bit on the lower side. I'm in a 15% chance, like close to 29 million other people. That's for Dallas, Nashville, New Orleans, Atlanta, and Tulsa. And then for the 30% chance, that's where we have a very good chance for a very big sized hail up to 2-inch diameter or larger, possibly getting up to golf sized hail, if not softball sized hail. That's going to be for Memphis, Tennessee, Birmingham, Montgomery, Shreveport, and Little Rock. Okay, that's what we're seeing there. Tomorrow, the threat's even getting worse, now up to an enhanced risk. Earlier yesterday, we only had a slight chance, and even when we had the enhanced risk, it was only for South Carolina and North Carolina, not extending to Georgia and Virginia, possibly to maybe extending all the way to Maryland and the Mid-Atlantic. The marginal risk is now for 31 million people tomorrow. That is where we have this 2011-like severe weather, where we have that slight percent chance, that slight risk, now moving all the way up into the northeast. That's the only 2011 resemblance, although we don't have that moderate and high risk in the southeast the same day. So again, we still have this 3-day outlook like 2011 that went from, again, April 25th to the 27th. Now this is what we're seeing. We're seeing all the way up to April 12th, all the way up to the 14th. This is really close to this severe weather outbreak, except this is possibly going to be a little better than the 2011 outbreak. The 2011 outbreak definitely going to have a lot more tornado reports. They saw in total 500 plus tornadoes in the 3-day outbreak. I think we might only have maybe 100 in total, if not 150, which might be very high, maybe too high. So again, that's going to be for New York, Pittsburgh, Newark, New Jersey, or Jersey City, and Rochester. Again, all including all these areas, mostly on the East Coast. Now for the slight chance, that's including now 30 or close to 30 million people rounded up. That's going to be for Philadelphia, Jacksonville, Baltimore, Charlotte, and Washington, D.C. Enhanced versus where we have the worst risk for tomorrow, possibly seeing still a tornado threat and hail threats, of course, the damaging winds. That's going to be for 12 million people, including Raleigh, Greensboro, Durham, Richmond, and Savannah, Georgia. Tornado threat is actually quite high for Monday at a 10% chance. We have a 2% chance stretching all the way from New York into Florida, which is really like what we saw in 2011. Again, 5% chance. We have 29 million people, including Philadelphia, Jacksonville, Baltimore, Charlotte, and Washington, D.C. Who knows? We actually might have a tornado, our first tornado reports in the Mid-Atlantic this season, including out there into Pennsylvania and even Delaware. Now we get into the wind threats, also maintaining pretty at a high side at 30% chance for much of the Mid-Atlantic and Southeast, and then 15% chance for hail threats. So hail threats not as high as today, of course. Either way, the severe weather threat today will be a lot worse. So again, here we have the severe weather reports, of course, like I said earlier in the National Weather Service. When we're looking at that, we did have hail reports with the Tyler band that is now moving towards Louisiana. So we're going to be seeing a whole lot of hail reports and maybe tornado reports pop up within the next 20 to 30 minutes. Definitely be a lot different by the noon of a 12 o'clock update, if not 1 o'clock update. So we have a total of 4 reports today, 3 hail reports, and all in Texas, and a wind report in Texas. Again, that's going to be for Tyler, like I said, Tyler, and then 4 miles northeast of Tyler, and then we also have southwest Lakeport. All in the we have 2 in Smith County and Rusk County. Of course, we actually saw golf ball sized hail in Tyler, and then we saw quarter sized hail northeast of Tyler and quarter sized hail. So it looks like we actually saw the worst of it at Tyler. So golf ball size hail, that's quite high. So now we're gonna be looking at the radar for the European. Just look at this band that again we're seeing out here. This is why we have up to a level 3 for Texas now. Look at this extremely strong bands moving again past Tyler, getting into again Texas Carna, the city out there not far from the Arkansas border. And then a couple hours again, this is going to be the same band that's going to be causing the huge destruction out there now into the south central and getting closer to the Mississippi Valley. So now we're going to be looking out here into the southeast radar, and then we'll be looking at the out here. So here we have these very strong bands, of course, now moving to the Mississippi Valley. Very strong bands now out there for Memphis. Starting to see that for Oxford. Extremely possibly huge tornado threat for the eastern Arkansas area. Again, here we have these bands ahead of time. That's also why we have that flooding threat because of the extremely heavy rain. Now, next couple hours later, this is what we're going to be seeing by really late tonight into tomorrow morning. The very strong bands now heading past Nashville. Here we have a very big threat now entering Georgia. We still have this very strong bands now out there near Jackson, Mississippi. And then here we have the second band that developed in Oklahoma and Kansas, now moving through Little Rock, now moving out there into much of Arkansas. And this is where we have that potential threat for seeing another Jonesboro tornado. So this is what we're seeing there. It's actually, this radar is actually reloading again. But again, extremely big severe weather now moving into the Appalachians as well. Yet to enter Georgia with the biggest risk. Let's actually see if we can actually check out the NAN3KM model if this actually reloaded all the way to. So again, here we're going to be looking at the NAN3KM model. This one's a bit more detailed. But again, having these bands arriving and going to go straight through Georgia again. Later today, still seeing the very, really strong bands out there into western Tennessee. Still seeing some really strong bands ahead of time out there into the lower Mississippi Valley. and we had these lower but possibly very strong bands at some point moving into throughout Georgia. Again, look at these very strong bands. They're going to be heading straight over Atlanta, straight over my house, and they're going to be multiple bands. So you may think one over, and then we have another one. And then again, here we have this, well, we have the enhanced risk tomorrow, because look at these very strong bands that will be arriving tomorrow into the Carolinas. And then again, those diminish a lot faster than what we see today. Now we're going to be looking at the NAN3 came on the GFS. It's still yet to fully reload, so we have fresh new data. And look at this monster system here. Again, we had this very heavy rain from the first system that we saw yesterday, already out there not far from Tupelo, moving to South Pittsburgh in northwestern Alabama near Florence. That's where we're seeing the really big severe weather threat a couple hours ahead of time from the major one. Again, look at this low pressure system right here at 992 millibars was straight over this band, which is exactly why we saw this very strong band out there, Tyler. That's exactly why we saw golf ball sized hail, because this low pressure system was right over the city, which is going to strengthen right over the city again. This is going to continue to strengthen, which is also going to strengthen the flow of the jet stream and the moisture from the Gulf Coast. Again, we also have these southern winds that will be pushing this severe weather fast into the Mississippi Valley. Again, very strong bands arriving to Little Rock, El Dorado. Again, very, very strong bands moving to Shreveport. Again, Austin, Texarkana. And then again, that's going to be going straight over now. Look, now up to 991 millibars, continuing to strengthen. Now going past into the Mississippi area. Now continuing to see this very heavy rain now throughout much of south central Arkansas. Continuing to see this possibly U-shaped band, which is known as a wall cloud. And that's not a good sign. And again, now we have the very strong bands by later into tonight. Continuing that, moving now into the Tennessee area. Again, that's where we're possibly seeing the very big risk for severe weather into now. Moving to Clarksville, Tennessee. Hopefully we don't have another tornado there. Starting to see that severe weather now. Moving into the Alabama area. Here we have a second low pressure system that came off the Gulf Coast. Now we have, look, two big low pressure system. Look, like I said earlier, we're going to have these bands developing in Oklahoma and Kansas later tonight as well. And look at this. That's going to be a big maker as well. So basically, we have three low pressure systems. Here we have it at 990 millibars. That's where we have it enhanced for us now for Tulsa and to much of western Oklahoma. And here we have the very busy risk. That's why we see the severe weather risk extending now to the north. We'll be seeing extremely strong bands heading towards Evansville, Paducah, Lexington, Louisville. And then still a big threat ahead of time now. Again, we're going to be seeing multiple bands. We can just count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then 6. We're going to be seeing multiple bands, which is why we're seeing millions, up to 70 plus million people in a severe weather risk. Again, this first band will turn into very, very heavy thunderstorms. And again, this will have, but definitely have flash flood warnings in effect for Cincinnati, Evansville, Louisville, Columbus, Ohio, and then heading towards out there into western Virginia out there, and then also moving towards Asheville. And then here we have the very big bands. This is why we will definitely have the moderate risk. Again, the worst of the severe weather will be mostly right now again Texas and Louisiana, and then far late this afternoon and evening. That's where we have the severe weather now moving to Florence, moving to Oxford, moving to Tupelo, and then we have a huge band connecting now, going to go straight through western Arkansas at a very big, strong band. And then here we have this extremely big band now. It's going to connect and double its size, and that's going to be heading straight through Georgia, straight for North Carolina, straight for South Carolina, straight through Alabama, now heading straight through Huntsville, out there near South Pittsburgh. And look at this, going to go straight over Georgia. We look at all these bands. We have multiple. We have 1, 2. Let me actually get a bigger one. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And up to 6 bands that are going to be heading this way into Georgia, Alabama, and the Carolinas. We have this first band that will be arriving later into early tomorrow morning. That's going to be a very strong band heading straight through, again, Lake Lanier, Columbus, Georgia. And then we have the strongest band out there to southwestern Kentucky, moving out there through getting closer to Johnson City and Gatlinburg. And then we have these other bands near Chattanooga and Montgomery and Birmingham. That's going to be going straight through my house once again. And then we have another strong band possibly going through Columbus, Georgia. Out there possibly going through Macon, Georgia, Perry, Georgia. And then we have that very high risk for tomorrow, of course, with this very strong band stretching all the way from the Big Bend up to Richmond. And then that's going to begin heading that small threat for the coastal areas. Now we're going to be looking at the amount of energy with the joules per kilogram, exactly see how much energy we have in these bands. Of course, we're going to be seeing a ton of energy out here into Texas because of the energy coming from the Gulf Coast. With this low pressure and the humidity, the overday heating, is going to cause a ton of energy to come off. Cause we have most of our energy off into the Gulf Coast right here, as you can tell. Definitely a lot of energy. But look, it's going to be splitting out to Houston. We have some 3,000s. Again, for those people who don't know, the higher the joules per kilogram, the more energy we have in a band, which means a bigger potential for seeing large hail and a potential out there for tornadoes. Again, we have some 4,000s up to the highest in mid 4,000s. By later at 5 o'clock tomorrow, this severe weather, this energy will be moving down to Louisiana and Mississippi with that major band that's bringing hail for Tyler, moving to Shreveport, 3,000 for Beaumont, for Port Arthur, 4,000, and then we have some up to 4,500 here into areas east of Houston. Very strong bands that moving to, energy moving to Alexandria, and also some mid high 3,000s moving to Louisiana. Baton Rouge getting to higher numbers, 2,700, and then by 11 o'clock things start to die down a little bit due to the lack of energy from the overday heating, or sorry, from the due to overnight, and starting to see the less potential for a energy from the sun and overday heating. So I hope you guys all enjoyed the video. Again, I'll have multiple more of these coming out later today. I'm hoping to have a triple upload. Let's actually reload, see if we have anything new. So we do have something new. Might as well talk about it. Now, like I said, I actually guessed it, guys. I said in the beginning of the video, we could have a tornado warning northeast of Lufkin, and next thing you know, we have one again. The very strong band now is actually going now into Texarkana, and then we have this formation right on the border with Louisiana. We definitely have to have some storm chasers. Wow, this is really, really bad. Now we have, again, these severe thunderstorm warnings have been issued for Shreveport, and they're still under the tornado watch. Monroe, El Dorado, Alexandria, you guys will possibly, maybe soon, be under some type of tornado watch or severe thunderstorm watch. Again, also another tornado warning out there on the border with Louisiana and Texas, south of Texarkana and between Shreveport. And then Tyler, the counties east of Tyler have now been added to the flash flood warnings. So definitely a major threat with that band. Now we actually have the Mississippi Valley has now added flash flood watches into now Jonesboro, Memphis, Dyersburg, and possibly getting to Clarksville. So we have actually added flash flood watches now into also getting close to Roanoke, Mount Airy, and Boone. So major updates now with this as well. So yeah, now we even have severe weather statements out here near Lubbock and also Plainview and Aspenmont and Littlefield. Also, we have again that severe weather threat also into West Texas. Let's actually refresh this, and it has not actually reloaded right now as of right now. So hope you guys enjoyed the video, and bye guys.